Well, hello and welcome to my first ever studio vlog. I'm very excited. I thought I'd try it out, see how it goes. Thought I'd share a bit what my practice is about, what I do with my time, what inspires my paintings and what I do. So in March I set myself a bit of a challenge. I committed to painting the biggest portrait that I've ever done in 21 days. This might actually seem like a long time to you, but I would probably classically spend 2 months on such a painting. I did not think I would be able to do it, genuinely wouldn't. But anyway, I sort of set it up and I made it sort of a bit of an Instagram thing, and yeah, I'm happy to say that I pretty much managed to get it done. And that was painting probably 4 to 8 hours a day, every single day. Is the result what I wanted it to be? Well, you know, it can always be better. I think it communicates what I wanted it to communicate, so I think that's the main thing. If that means that the result is what I wanted it to be, then I suppose yes it is. I definitely could have worked on the details a little bit better, but yeah, I think that's just nitpicking. I think the texture and the main things about the painting is what I wanted it to be. And then we can just bag the rest of that, the rest of all those faults, and sort of pick them up and another painting and get better. So the inspiration behind this painting. So this self-portrait competition, which is for the Ruth Borchard Self-Portrait Prize, is a prize that I entered a few years ago with my second ever portrait painting, and I don't know how, but somehow I got accepted into the final exhibition. It was very surprising. I mean, the painting in and of itself, I think for me, I was very proud of it at the time. Like, I was super proud of it at the time. I was still kind of experimenting and finding my way, and I had no idea what I was doing, basically. Like, I didn't know how to paint hair before that painting. No idea. No idea about blending. I think the colours of the painting was kind of me going, well, I don't know how to paint skin colours, so I'm just going to paint it colourful and not care. Yeah, I think what strikes me about that painting now is that it kind of really, it did kind of express how I felt about a lot of things, like my life and myself at the time. So I thought it'd be quite nice to sort of, in that sort of the story arc, to sort of make one now and sort of compare it with the one that I entered in 2015. So this one was kind of like a comment on that journey from then to now. It's also a comment on like how much I've evolved as an artist in those years in between. I think what's interesting though is that actually the expression is kind of the same, like the same thing is kind of communicated. So although a lot has changed, I think the same want to tell that story, I suppose, has been the same. What I also wanted to do with this painting was, well, create more awareness about mental health, just have an opportunity to have that conversation, what that means, and sort of, I don't know, just kind of expand that public awareness a bit more. I think it's often something that we only talk about when we have a hard time. So good mental health is like, oh, then you're just a normal person. But actually good mental health is quite a commitment. It's not just being okay with things, it's like actually thriving, and it's growing as a person and being committed to that and being committed to your own well-being. I think that it's really important that we do have the conversations that we have about depression and anxiety and mental illness in that sense. I also feel that it should be a term that's kind of, that we check in with ourselves every day, like how's my mental health today? How am I actually feeling? How can I treat myself better? How can I make things better for myself? Normally when you feel really great about yourself and the world, everyone else benefits for that too. I think it is one of those things where we think, oh no, but I need to like do this and I need to stress out about all these things and I need to do this for this other person, and actually if you burn yourself out, then you know, who's going to take care of you? So it's kind of that thing of, you know, you've got to take care of yourself first, and then we sort of tend to the other things. And sort of more not seeing that as a narcissistic thing. I think narcissism is a completely different thing than having good mental health. We don't need to feel bad about ourselves for wanting to take care of ourselves, and we shouldn't either. But anyway, yeah, so this painting is me meditating, something that I think is absolutely key to maintaining good mental health and good mental habits. Just the act of taking a break from all that sort of shit that goes on up there, all the pressure, all the stuff, all the stress, all the to-do lists, taking that time off to let your brain kind of rest and just be present and not think about anything is just like the best medicine for a stressed out brain. And yeah, it should be daily practice for like everyone. We should go to school and we should do this at the start of the day, and we would have just a better experience of the day and everyone, and better learning, and just everything would be better. I started meditating about probably 8-9 years ago. Just really simple stuff. I used Headspace a lot. I just sat in silence for about 10 minutes and counted my breaths, 20 minutes sometimes, and that's it. I didn't really notice any difference until about 4 or 5 months in, when I was like, oh wow, I handled that stressful situation so much better. I didn't react in that way, and I had more distance between me, my thoughts and my feelings. First, when I had that experience, that I understood like, okay, yeah, meditation is really, really good. And then of course, you just fall off the bandwagon and you start getting into bad habits again, and you know, you kind of forget about it until one day you're like, oh my god, I am so stressed. My thoughts are going a million miles an hour. I don't know what to do right now. I was like, I kind of felt better when I meditated. So it's that. So yeah, that was the inspiration. In terms of the technique, like how I actually made it, I kind of said that I wouldn't make anything as detailed as this. Not like ever, but I thought I would be moving away from it. But somehow I find the thought of like this sort of big faces really appealing. Like there's something about a big human face that in front of you that kind of just makes you, I don't know, stop and engage. So I kind of wanted that effect, and I also wanted it to be quite lifelike, like quite real and quite still. So some of my other paintings are kind of like add in abstract elements and kind of play around with that, but this one I kind of wanted to be just kind of still. It feels really alive, but it also feels really still. So I've called it Presence, which is all about just being right here, right now, in this moment. And I kind of wanted the style to reflect that as well. It's really difficult to achieve that level of detail in just 21 days, especially on this scale. I was genuinely a little bit taken aback by the whole task. And I was kind of having to figure out, how do I mimic these textures, and how do I mimic the skin, and how do I kind of make the nuance and the colours in the skin without sort of painting every single detail and kind of committing to painting everything photorealistically, because I also didn't kind of want to do that. I wanted to have a bit of an artisticness to it as well, so it's not just kind of, besides from that, also just being really difficult and above all else, just boring. It's boring painting everything perfectly detailed. Like, it's just not cool. But yeah, so I kind of developed different ways of sort of smudging the skin, of like kind of poking it with smaller brushes, and yeah, I think it worked out pretty well, and it kind of gives this sense of texture in the skin, but without actually, like when you look closely at it, you can't see the individual pores and stuff. You kind of just see kind of speckled sort of speckled painting, I suppose. But I'm pretty pleased with how that turned out. The hair as well, that was kind of difficult, because I really wanted it sort of you know, like hair feels, it has like a certain texture and it has a certain feel to it, and you can sort of look at hair and imagine how it feels. So I kind of wanted that to, like, when you look at the hair, you can kind of like imagine how it feels. The hair was like one of the last things that I painted, and I honestly only had like 3 days to really put in detail work, which is way not enough, especially like if you make one mistake with these fine hairs, like first you paint, like create the texture around it, and then you kind of start layering it with finer and finer detail until like the last few, then you put like some really fine lines to kind of give the hints of individual hair. If you fuck up one of those lines, you fuck up all of the layers underneath it as well, and you have to sort of redo it. So it's just really frustrating. But yeah, I think it turned out, I could have spent a lot more time on the hair, to be fair, but again, 21 days I think is pretty acceptable, so I'm happy with that. But anyway, yeah, that's a little bit about what I've been doing this month. So this piece is only created for this competition. I've spent about 3 weeks on it, 3 weeks of completely unpaid work. I'm not sure if this painting is going to sell instantly. I mean, who knows, miracles really does happen, but I do want £6,000 for it. You know, maybe it will win the competition, but like, let's be honest, there's so many amazing artists out there that I'm not even going to be disappointed if I don't even make it into the exhibition, because there's so many good painters out there that I go, yeah, do you know what, fair enough, good on you, your painting is absolutely bloody phenomenal. Yeah, what I also did was I set up a little funding page on my website so people could buy me a coffee or buy me a tub of ice cream, my favourite ice cream, or help me to cover some of the art supplies that I used to create this painting. I actually had a fair few people buy me coffees and buy me art supplies, and it was, yeah, incredibly heartwarming, and yeah, thank you so much. The funding page is still up, so if you do want to donate, if you think this painting is, you know, alright, or just want to support me, then I'd be so grateful. I do not get to do these paintings very often because of those reasons, because if you're going to spend 3 weeks on one painting, you kind of want to be more secure about the subject matter, and it's just maybe not a commercial piece. I think it's a piece that people will like really enjoy looking at, and say in an exhibition setting people are really going to enjoy viewing the piece, but the likelihood of somebody buying it, I'm not sure, and I've kind of made my peace with that. I would really like to create more artwork like this that is not sort of based on capitalism, that is the need to sell and to make money. So I'm doing things like this, making vlogs and creating content about this. So if you want to help me create more pieces like this, please like and subscribe. I would love it if you left a comment. Let me know if there's anything that you would like to see about my work, about my practice, about my paintings, if there's any technique that you want to see. Please let me know, because I'm still sort of figuring out what content to put into this, so I would love to hear from you. There's a link to my website in the comment below, and please follow me on Instagram. I put all my new work out up there, and I'm probably going to be so much better at updating my Instagram than this, so yeah. And lastly, thank you so much. If you've lasted all the way through my first ever vlog, thank you so much. Well done. And yeah, thank you. And hopefully I'll speak to you soon again. Okay. Well, that was a waste of time, wasn't it? Okay. I'm pretty sure I've got mice in my studio, and I can hear the little bugger nibbling at something, and then you'll find some sort of thing nibbled on soon.